And, you know, and the new book, which is so cool, this has taken me years to do this research and watching, you know, the new science. And some of the science, just when I saw the biological stuff, I went, wow, that expands my model completely. And one of those models is, you know, back around 2001, the research came out about oxytocin. You know, big thing in my books After a Minute from Mars is how oxytocin is the hormone that lowers stress for women, particularly women. It can lower stress for men, but usually it just increases his stress. And all depends upon where his testosterone levels are. So it's all, you'll see some research saying it actually increases the sympathetic response, which is a cortisol response, or it increases the parasympathetic response. For women, it almost always lowers their stress levels. So when you understand what oxytocin does, then it all makes sense. If you don't understand what it does, so what we know is that when women do social interactions where they feel loved and supported, which is actually called pair bonding. Pair bonding is when a woman gives something and gets something else back. It's not sharing, it's a transaction. Okay, so my wife, she gives me a lot of love, I take care of her. Okay, so that would be, you know, I'm out there emptying the trash, she's making me dinner. So there's a transaction of you provide something, I provide something different. Social bonding is we're all providing the same thing. We're in a card game. Or a pair bonding is going to be where you go to your doctor and you pay them money and they take care of you. That stimulates, any kind of pair bonding activity stimulates oxytocin. Oxytocin only lowers a woman's stress big time pretty much 5 days of the month. Now that's the new information. It turns out that that social bonding and self-nurturing time, which stimulate the hormone progesterone, lower a woman's stress 18 days of her month. Testosterone, which is getting things done, lowers her stress 5 days a month. So I explained this whole cycle that women are going through. And one of the challenges for women today is the highest fulfillment comes during this 5-day window when their estrogen levels go to the highest level and their testosterone levels drop. I mean, significantly drop. They go from being equal for the 5 days after her period, and then suddenly her testosterone drops, her estrogen goes up, and if she doesn't have that shift supported in her life, then her own testosterone goes up and her estrogen goes down and she's stressed out. So practically speaking, what this means is, it's kind of like in the book Minute from Mars, I talked about women are like waves. They will rise up and then they crash, and then they rise up and they crash. Well, during those first 5 days after her period, the wave's rising up. Everything looks good. Everything looks rosy. She's feeling great. And then boom, if she is not getting the extra support she needs for oxytocin for the next 5 days, that wave is going to crash. And a guy's going to go, what just happened? Everything was just fine. And suddenly you never listen to me. We never do anything fun. You're always working all the time. I get no help around this house. I'm doing everything myself. You hear this stuff. You go, wait a second. Wasn't this woman happy yesterday? And this is like, so it explains it. There's this shift. So what you have to do is you prepare so that she has something to anticipate, special, romantic, out of the ordinary, you know, going to a theater or going out to dinner or a special walk, whatever it is, something that she would like. So for those 5 days, she's anticipating the next week, which is her magic 5-day window when she really needs a lot of oxytocin stimulation, which is affection, listening, empathy, understanding, compassion, romance, the stuff we did when we're dating her. Now, if we do it at that time right, and she gets what she needs, her estrogens go to the peak level, they ring the bell, which will make her happy for the next month, all the way up to the next time. She is going to feel this sense of fulfillment, kind of like, you know, if a guy achieves a goal and you're like superstar, at least a month, you're going to feel like a superstar. Maybe some guys the rest of their lives, but generally speaking, you can ride on one success for quite a while. Women ride hormonally on reaching that estrogen level with support to their estrogen. That means she fully expressed vulnerability. She felt safe to feel independent, interdependent. She felt like you were there for her. she will remember that for the next 18 days for sure. And if she doesn't get it, then there's something missing for the next 18 days. And there is something biologically missing, because if you're not producing the oxytocin she needs during that 5-day window, this is around ovulation, 2 days before ovulation, 2 days after, that would be 5 days. It starts 5 days after her period is over. So every guy's got to have a calendar, and she's got to mark out period starts, period's over, bleeding has stopped. Then 5 days after that, for 5 days, that's your magic window. Then the next part of it, next 18 days, is this time when the hormone that lowers a woman's stress at that time is progesterone, not oxytocin. But what inhibits progesterone from being produced in her body is testosterone. If in her workplace she's making testosterone, urgency, emergency, solving problems, sacrificing, hiding your feelings, having to get it done, the symptoms of all that is she feels overwhelmed, she feels stressed. During that time, what will lower her stress is, first, she needs a little oxytocin. That's what a man can do, is give a little burst, not a big 5-day thing, but a little burst to help her relax. That will allow her testosterone to go down. Then she needs to make progesterone by not depending on her partner for support at that time, but instead looking to herself for more happiness and having help to find it. That might mean, basically, I encourage my wife to go out with her friends. That might mean she wants to have a card game at the house. Well, I'll participate in that, and we'll all share in that. Instead of my going, oh, you know, I don't want to do that, I'm just going to watch TV. No, participate some. But know that during those 18 days, you can't make her happy. All you can do is provide the support that makes her feel safe to fully express herself. But she won't fully express herself. She can't fully express herself if she didn't fully get those 5 days. So this is what's happening to women today. And if they'll remember what those 5 days when you were loving her at some point, and they go, that's what's missing. That's what's missing. For the next 18 days, that's what's missing. But only what she needs at that time is progesterone. Oxytocin will help her to lower the testosterone so her body can make progesterone. The key thing, another piece of research I found, is that whenever women make testosterone, they use up their progesterone. So if she's at work, she has no progesterone. So she needs a little oxytocin to lower her testosterone. Then she can take me time, which is self-nurturing time, or social bonding time, where she's sharing but not pair bonding. That is what's going to increase her happiness. So this is like so cool for guys to understand, for women to understand, because, you know, always we love a woman when she's unhappy. We always kind of feel beat up by it, you know, like bummer, you know, because the flips, it's like we feel blamed. And sometimes she is blaming us, you know, but even if she's unhappy, we're like, what did I do wrong? You know, you need to make her, what's she thinking? I got to change her thinking. Now I'm not attached at all. And it's so peaceful in my marriage because, you know, I used to think I did it all for my wife. And now I realize I'm the plumber. She has to paint the house herself or get somebody to do it for her. That's painting is not my job. And painting is analogous to making her happy. My job is the plumber. I make it safe for her to find her happiness. That's the key. And then during those 5 days, I make her really happy. That's when you got some magic to make her happy. Otherwise, you could just do the plumbing.